Well, first of all, my red line is if he just does it by himself and doesn't talk to anybody, because that is the way to fail. Year after year, government after government, prime minister after prime minister, if they haven't engaged cross-party, it just won't stick. So my first thing was in our manifesto, let's have cross-party talks. I've already written to him, by the way. I've already written to Andy Burnham and said, look, we're ready to engage in proper cross-party talks. Mr. Starmer talked about those, never really happened, frankly, Adam. And that means you don't get into this horrible circle of red lines. We've got a whole lot of ideas to put forward, which we want to share.
And we're joined now by the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Sir Ed Davey. Hello to you.
Hi, Adam.
Who would be your picks for Chancellor and Foreign Secretary in the interests of the country?
Well, they'd be Daisy Cooper as Chancellor and Callum Miller as Foreign Secretary, because I think Liberal Dems have the best team, of course, Adam. Listen, it's up to Mr. Burnham to make those choices, and I just hope he gets on with it, really, because what we're suffering from is instability. 7 prime ministers in 10 years, and I just hope that he's talking about a new politics, isn't it? A new kind of politics, and if he's true about that, then hopefully he'll succeed, because we've always argued for more consensus politics, more cross-party working. And if he's serious about that, my door is absolutely open. And I think it will bring the stability the country needs.
Yeah, but in that spirit of the available talent to him, and sadly, we're not in a Lib Lab coalition from your point of view.
No, I want a Liberal government. I think you've got that wrong, Alan.
Yeah, all right. Well, we haven't got a Liberal government at the moment. But just looking at the possibilities, would you have any preference at all as to who is chosen as Chancellor?
It's really about their policies, Adam, seriously. I mean, we need to get our economy growing again. We're not going to tackle the cost of living crisis, which is hitting so many families, and we're not going to help businesses who are struggling unless we get a decent economic policy. So, we can talk about individuals. I don't know which any of these individuals, what their policies are. That's what I'm really interested in. And we've been arguing in my party that we need to get rid of the red lines on Europe that Starmer put forward, preventing us getting to customs union, a single market. They are the biggest barriers to growing our economy. And frankly, any chancellor who puts those forward, we'll welcome them, because we've been advocating them and championing a real strong growth policy to tackle all the struggles people are having with their bills and their taxes.
Do you think it's right that Andy Burnham has put so much emphasis on domestic policy, not really talked at all since he became, Prime Minister presumptive, if I can put it that way, about foreign policy?
I don't criticise that at all. He's got to talk about what he's going to do for our country. My only concern on that is, he hasn't been speaking about all the things on growth. He has, to be fair, been talking about things that we've been talking about, particularly social care. As you know, that's a massive issue for me, because I believe unless you sort out social care and family carers, crucially, you're not going to sort out the NHS. So there's a lot of things that need to be sorted out domestically. I think the overall point that you're making, that others have made rightly too, is that international issues do wash up on our shores very quickly, as we saw with Trump's idiotic war in Iran, which was very unwisely supported by the Conservatives in Reform, and has done so much damage to our economy as well as the world's.
But what do you expect he's going to do on social care? I mean, what are your red lines on the proposals that you wouldn't be prepared to accept and work with, including, as you say, for carers as well?
Well, first of all, my red line is if he just does it by himself and doesn't talk to anybody, because that is the way to fail. Year after year, government after government, prime minister after prime minister, if they haven't engaged cross-party, it just won't stick. So my first thing was in our manifesto, let's have cross-party talks. I've already written to him, by the way. I've already written to Andy Burnham and said, look, we're ready to engage in proper cross-party talks. Mr. Starmer talked about those, never really happened, frankly, Adam. And that means you don't get into this horrible circle of red lines. We've got a whole lot of ideas to put forward, which we want to share. And it's not just about state provision, it's about family carers, because I do believe, if you look at the facts, the vast majority of care in our country is carried out by family members and neighbours and loved ones. and we need to make sure that they're supported. And that's quite a distinctive Liberal Democrat position, and I want to make sure that that is absolutely on the table.
You've been in Parliament with Andy Burnham. He's been in politics a long time, so have you. What is your impression of him?
Well, I don't know very well, Adam. So yes, we have our paths have crossed often on media events. I mean, he seems one of these people who does want to engage with people. I mean, and he has been in favour of things like electoral reform, which we're very keen on. He's been in favour of trying to change our politics, which I very much think is crucial if you're going to fix our country, whether it's cost of living, NHS, environment, or whatever. Unless you change our political system, you won't fix the country. And if he wants to do that, that's great. He's certainly talked about it a fair amount, and let's just see whether he's up for that.
Do you agree with him that effectively this government is the last chance to stop Nigel Farage and Reform UK becoming Prime Minister?
Well, it might turn out that way. Can't be sure. Mr. Farage is doing his best to undermine reform and what he stands for with these appalling scandals and this nonsense of a by-election. I think more and more people are beginning to see through Mr. Farage, and that is a good thing. I think reform's doing damage themselves. Listen, I do agree that we've got to get our country working again. And sometimes people don't like opposition parties saying we actually want the government to do well. I want the government to do well because I want our country to do well, right? And it's nothing to do with party politics. Our country's been in a mess for a long time. The Conservatives made an absolute dire mess of it on every single level, from defence, economy, to the health service, to welfare, immigration. They were just a disastrous government for a long time.
Although, of course, it has to be said that you were a participant for some of the time in those Conservative governments.
In the first government, in the 5 years of coalition, but I think that was the best government we've had for a long, long time. And I'm really happy to explain how we took millions of low-paid people out of tax, and we began to sort out things like renewables and mental health. But let's not go back there. Those 5 years were the only 5 years of success. After that, the Conservatives, by themselves, made an absolute pig's ear of it all. I had hoped 2 years ago, with a big majority, that Keir Starmer would provide the change that we needed, and sadly, he didn't. So the question is Mr. Burnham going to do it? He's making some good noises, but so far they're only noises. We haven't seen him face up to some of the big issues, and I come back to the economy. Unless you sort out growth, you won't sort out the cost of living. And that is what is hitting so many people. Like I've never ever seen it before, Adam. It's truly alarming for so many people. And he can make the odd change here and there, maybe, which will help. But it won't sort out the problem unless you fundamentally get our economy growing again. And that's why, I'll come back to it, you've got to sort out our relationship with Europe, which has been so damaging.
Now, you referred to the scandals around Reform UK at the moment and financing, but it has to be said that your party's had big individual donors, some of whom subsequently have run into trouble. I mean, what tightening of the law do you think is needed to stop this happening repeatedly? What about a flat cap on the amount any individual and their family can donate?
That's been our policy for a long time. We've long argued and indeed led the argument for reforming.
But you haven't followed it, have you? As a party, you have taken big donations.
Well, we have indeed. Our biggest was before the 2019 election from the Sainsbury family. So, yes, we have. But, the point is, we all need to play by new rules. We're advocating new rules, and those new rules should apply to everybody. The moment it is deeply unfair. The Conservatives have traditionally been the main beneficiaries of this unfair and I think slightly undemocratic system. It looks like Mr. Farage, with his donations from Thai-based crypto billionaires, is being favoured by our crazy system. So a cap is absolutely where we should go.
An absolute ban on foreign money.
Yeah, I just don't think that's right, that people should come from abroad and interfere. Now, there are some nuances. Let's remember the nuances are: do they have a company here? Do they actually on the electoral register here? And so there are ways that we need to look at to make sure we do protect our country from foreign money. But you remember the moment when Elon Musk was going to give either Farage or indeed other far right parties like Rupert Lowe's party money and support them. And in many ways, he managed to find ways to do that. That's just wrong. The world's richest man in the US should interfere in our politics. And whether it's him or a Thai-based billionaire, it's not right.
And just finally, from your point of view, what is the best thing that Andy Burnham could say tomorrow? Have a general election?
Well, he's not going to say that, is he? I mean, I hope he'll set out a lot more on his social care ideas, a lot more on his ideas for doing politics differently, because that would be really welcome. And more important than anything else, how he's going to get our economy growing, how he's going to deal with the cost of living and change the relationship with Europe. These are the big issues which we've campaigned on for a long time, hopefully been raising with Conservative prime ministers and with Keir Starmer. I just hope he listens to what we've been saying, and if he does, we'll welcome it. Of course we will.
Okay, Sir Ed Davey, thank you very much indeed.